Okay, morning, Master Mason Briff here. Uh, woke up this morning. I had turned on, got South Park playing. This is tolerance episode with the tolerance camp, so I put up a post. All right, so safety is any place can become a safety and tolerance camp, right? Against everything. And it works out to be a general form. Now, again, I haven't seen every teacher. I don't generally kick in the door and try to take 10 year. I just don't play bones on the chessboard unless I have to. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's not just that they can kill you; it's that you get the job. You understand? And that's a total different fucking animal. Nice when you got it all worked out and you want to do the hearing test guy. Totally different animal. So you got to do triple anyways. The truth of the matter is to think that the Sawyer or Thermaler's position didn't have any of that already. It's this intolerance, this thing that gets inside of here, and you'll be tolerant and finger painting in here. Make sure you got them all. Don't have to worry about the end result and how fast it has to come out. But eventually gets in there, and Garrison's like, you're not intolerant, and you don't have to be angry about things. You do not have to take your shit sandwich and eat it. That is a poor decision making process. You see, it's about physics. Physics is dynamics. Are there times when you have to eat that shit sandwich? Absolutely, with a grin. Other times you have to eat it and not be so happy about it. Sure, there are decisions you might have put into it, other appropriated systems inside of that, and that's the seed. Somebody else may be responsible for that, and I say that because it definitely is somebody else. Now, unfortunately for Salty's crew here, saying it's all your responsibility, it's all your fault for you just being in the room. It's true. Um, there's going to be a note about ignorance of the law being no excuse, but if you've never been trained to fix that saw before, it's hard for you to do anything. Me on the air crane, I've done those types of things before. I've moved it inside here a couple of times. And things start to get on the other side of things. It's like, is this the company's thing? Is this the M. Shaw thing? Is that just Billy or Veer's thing? Kurt and Rich's, would they be clear with it being me? Are they already clear with it being me? Is there a timeline I'm waiting for? It's like those things are acceptable to be pissed off and intolerant about. There's an improper physics. There's an improper mechanic for the way that thing works. And so a lot of times, in the physics, you're not going to know these things, and you just got to buck up and eat your shit sandwich. And over time, on the reciprocals, as you're looking at things, it's no longer okay because you become the problem. It's totally true. I caught one the other day there. It was like, I knew that block had a crack in it. I picked it up. I checked it. Bottom rock was good. Didn't see the crack coming out of the front. Didn't see the crack coming out of the sides. With a heavy crack like that should have went unless it was just that rock. And at what point you pick it up and move it, it's up off the ground. There's really no bumpy in here. That should give you the clearance on that notation. And again, stuff wasn't marked. It's like this has a crack in it. You're going to burn off the surface. Who cares if you're writing on it? Sizes, all that other fun stuff. So that way, in the morning, just somebody walking by. Oh, well, I better make sure that those guys know that those are going to be 14s, 18s, 16s, whatever the case may be. And it's really, when that problem comes up because of something like that later, it's not okay to be okay with that. Um, Especially if they're reciprocals. Especially if you're aware of those reciprocals, because then it's just the bread sandwich, right? It's just the bread here, and a lump of marshmallow in the middle. Whatever flavor. Shit, it's fertilizer, it's a weight, it's got to be moved, so it follows the rules of anything that needs to be moved. Uh, that's just shit sandwich that goes with that. But you don't need to take that. Um, hopefully I provided something here. Not only am I an individual that needs those things, it's just more of a thing to sum it out. What do I want an OSHA worker to do? Well, I want them to come in here and parallel what that company's demand is. It's the government's responsibility or government affiliated system to come in here and say, you know, this is not my industry. I need to learn from you the top end of that spectrum, because at that point in time, when you're going to bitch to me from a company standpoint, a manager comes to you, an employee comes to you, the wage fraud from the case comes to you, local militia needs to be done from that spot. It's an emergency, tank blows up, something, you know, just because there's really not a lot of difference. You know, it's just why would you prepare for the common odds for needing a militia, the emergency response team that comes up, and even if you're just to float off, that is the emergency response detail of your system. And that's what that becomes. Like, well, it's all just stone mill all the time, and I don't have to worry about none of the lines coordinated to anything else beyond that. And I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm just saying in there to that degree, that's where that safety for those standards, and it's like nobody's living there. It's, you know, I got to go through 10 different houses, Better Business Bureau, MSHA, OSHA, and I'm chasing the rabbit. Fuck all y'all. You just go straight to the Supreme Court case with it, and which gets you to incident reports. You know, when they make a federal case out of it, what do? They send archaeologists in there to stop the clock and think about the situation. In the world where I live, you can't stop the clock. So that means that the augmented physics here has to be some other calculus point, another person, timelines and safety meetings and standards on those things, mask apps so they can train that stuff at home, or refer to a book manual for larger scale details where, all right, saw lines going, no oxygen on the torch, no manager around, what do you do? I might not be able to do certain things. And I mean, honestly, it's like, where is the propane thing that they're going to use every day? Is it down there where you guys use it, or is it right here? Why would you do it anywhere else? Why would there be classifications on anything else like that? You have skid steer training programs. It's like, why would you do that anywhere else? I don't necessarily need a picture of a triangle of stability with forks on it when I can tell you right here, your max loads are this dumpster container, a pallet of a subset size, because they're calculable at those points. And, you know, so the mainline system is like, you got groups of guys right there. You're making them come off the clock. You're making them do a bunch more. That makes the company lose a lot of money that day. The employee still gets paid X. But your standards and systems a lot of times cause conflicts where that person can't privately come in there as a union base, not a union base for everybody else, but for themselves. You know, the station refers to something very different. Even though Sawyer might do something, we're talking about long-term exposure. We're talking about system A over system B, the outputs on those things. Is this the controlled output you guys been doing? I have no clue. I don't know that. And that makes for issues. That makes for conflict points where I have to trust the rational points in physics. Somebody's opinion, Your Honor. Somebody's standard. I didn't have any facts on that. Is there anything in the bank statements to make that line up? And you know why you need to do that in a place like, so later on, like, oh, all this bullshit they talk says I can subpoena them back and just get all that money right back, right? Because keep your mouth shut. Don't be a fucking douchebag. You know, a lot of the pieces are there. I just don't think, you know, when it comes to it, you flash mob that stuff and you say, I need a judge in my militia. I need a sheriff in my militia. We have them, but now because of the government, I can't trust you. It's like, I grew up with most of you. But honestly, because of a system like that comes around, which would be common sense to a lot of people. It's like, we have Hancock, we have the mayor of Hancock, we have those systems. What's the budget? What's the standard on the system? Is there any way from your salary, doing what you say you want to do around here, I could cut that off into an extra caseworker for every single company and start checking that shit off and say in a year or two, over a week exposure to each company and doing things. And I know every motherfucker around Dodge, what they do, why they do it, what is going on, and my end to get in there in case I had a fucking problem. No offense to the Blues, the Blue Falcons here, Murder Hornets. It's like, you have to know, but there's gotta be so much bullshit red tape in there. And then you don't use your own freedoms anyways. It's like, oh, I'm tired at the end of the day too. Well, you're constitutionally obligated to be a free American and freely assembled, to know that that's a potential problem and recruit that problem before it becomes one. Oh, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a psychologist. Oh, boy. Catch you on the next one.